It is funny that we bring up gambling.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Well, Shohei Ohtani finds himself in a little bit of a mess. All right, there's a problem. And
what's the problem?
Well, according to the LA Times, his interpreter is being accused of massive theft of the Dodgers star, stealing millions from him in order to place bets with an illegal bookmaker. And the bookmaker is a guy by the name of Matthew Bauer of Orange County, is the target of a federal investigation. The interpreter has been working with Ohtani since 2017. He was promptly fired by the Dodgers yesterday. And the interpreter is kind of given different accounts of what actually happened, which makes this whole thing kind of strange. It started with him saying that, well, he gave me the money to help cover gambling debts, and then he just to try and help me get out of those debts. I saw a number around $4.5 million. Like, he was really, really gambling, like really getting after it. And then they turned into, well, he didn't know that it was for gambling debts, and it was for, we think that this money's been stolen from him. There's just been a lot of things that don't really
Do you feel like
up.
Shohei is involved?
Is this a cover-up?
Yeah.
Is that basically what you're asking? Do you think it's a
Is
cover-up?
that what you're asking?
Gut feeling?
What's your gut feeling?
I think that Shohei Ohtani was trying to be a good friend, and then I think they realized when it was a little too late, hey, man, like, if you know this guy's got gambling debts and he's gambling on sports, probably a bad look that you're bailing the guy out and helping him out, and now they want to come back after the fact and say, well, he was unaware of all this and this money was stolen from him. How could the money be stolen from you if it was
if
like
he gave it to him?
Exactly. Like, that's the part where it doesn't
I
matter.
feel like there's a greater likelihood this is a complete cover-up, and I have no basis for saying that outside of if there was one person in this situation who you could say, well, who could have just been placing the bets for Shohei? It'd be this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one person that would end up being the fall guy in this scenario.
Oh, there it is. There's that term. I mean, at least he executed it to perfection if that's what it is.
Y'all got a crew?
Everybody need a fall guy.
The fall guy.
Am I wrong? I mean, maybe there's someone else in his life, but it sounds like the way this thing was set up, if Shohei had a gambling problem, this would be the guy that you would put it on. I mean, he's the perfect person to kind of say. So it's hard to ultimately know, but you've got a once-in-a-generation talent. And if there was, if he was involved, I mean, this would be the guy to take the fall for him if that was the case. Obviously, there's nothing that states that it is that, but there's nothing that states that it's not either. I mean, we really don't know. It's early on this scenario, but I'm just saying if there was a fall guy to take the rap, take the blame, this would be the perfect person for it.
$4 million is a lot of scratch.
$4.5 million, isn't it?
Yeah.
$4.5 million, a lot of scratch. But with that being said, $4.5 million in a situation like this.
Because if you're the interpreter, how are you gambling that much?
Right.
This guy's he's not getting paid that much to be an interpreter.
Or is he?
I think he's getting, I saw the number between $300,000 and $500,000 a year.
Well, that's not enough. So how are you betting $4 million? So there's your first. I mean,
unless he racked up some interest, in which there's more penal interest for those of you who understands that process.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they charge interest by the day.
All I know is $4 million, and it's like, oh, it came out of Shohei, and it was. I would say it's more likely to me that it was stolen versus him doing it, like him being the one that's placing these bets or giving the money, making it available for him to place those bets.
Did Shohei say he was aware though?
I don't know.
Because he thought he was bailing him out of whatever issue?
Yeah, like that. Well, that's where this gets a little odd. Like the interpreter was made available for an interview because the LA Times have been doing a deep dive on this and people started to catch wind on this. And then like some of the answers didn't add up. And they're like, so wait a second. So Shohei knew that you were gambling and knew that you had a debt and gave you the money that he knew was for gambling debts to cover you on this. And then Shohei's camp kind of figured out, oh, that's not good. Like if I didn't immediately part ways with the guy after I found out that he had been taking money from me and gambling, if that story was true. And I think that's where they kind of said, oh, boy, we got to fix this. No, it was a massive theft, and we are working, hand in hand with the authorities, and we're going to turn everything over to them so they know that everything's on the up and up. I just think that they thought they had the messaging together, only to realize the optics of this aren't great.
Well, the optics of it are even worse if that's what you did based off of the optics of it initially. Like, if you come back out and you change the narrative after that's already been put out there by your camp, if that's what indeed happened, that's worse optics. Right. That's worse to change the story now. It's worse.
It's and also the other part of this too, like, and I know Shohei's got a lot of money, but if you were just helping a guy out with gambling debts, like, hey man, I'll cover the, like, How do you lose that much money and not account for that much money and not that's why part of this just doesn't
add up.
Yeah, and then the best part is, the interpreter comes out and he says, well, I just want everybody to know Shohei had no involvement on this. He's never gambled on anything. And then it also goes on to state that he bet on the NFL, college football, NBA, international soccer, but just be clear, not Major League Baseball. I want to make this quick point on this. If you were that far in the hole, you would turn to what you know. And the idea that this guy was that far in the hole with a direct connection to a Major League Baseball star wouldn't go to that route to try and make up some of this that he lost, I find hard to believe.
You can have a direct connection to a guy by being his interpreter. How do you have a direct connection to his bank account?
Thank you.
That's to me, that's where this kind of.
Are you guys eventually going to come around to what I said? Because I feel like that's where this is.
Yeah,
right? We know that in America, in sports and betting, it's a no-no. One of the greatest of all time cannot get in the Hall of Fame because Pete Rose gambled on games. We know this for a fact, right?
Yep.
And it's held him out of the Hall of Fame. Shohei Ohtani is one of the greatest players we've ever seen. He's been in the Major League Baseball for 3 years now, since 2021?
Yeah. Well, no, he's been in MLB longer than that, I think, because he was the interpreter was brought in 2017.
Okay. So anyway, the thing is, I think as far as where he's kind of hit it big, it was about a few years ago where he started to play at that high of a level. I feel like I don't feel like he's been in for that long, has he?
Maybe he's I don't know, whatever.
I think his rookie season was 2018.
Okay, fair enough.
But look, there's different cultures. Like, gambling in other cultures is not frowned upon in any way, shape, or form. In America, it's obviously being embraced now more than ever. But I was asked this the other day. They go, what's been the biggest change since you've worked in broadcasting? I said gambling. 10 years ago when I first started, you couldn't talk about anything on air. Tony Romo at that point in time was being condemned for trying to hold a fantasy tournament out in Vegas, and he couldn't do it. And 10 years later, we have teams in Las Vegas. We have gambling sponsors and partnerships. It's an entirely different world. And so that's America. In some cultures, it's existed for decades. It's always been a part of it. And I think there's the potential for that disconnect. There's the potential for a lot of things. It seems odd that he would have this much knowledge on a guy who had access apparently to his bank accounts and his money, and he could be placing that high a volume of bets on all sorts of different sports. And I think the concern and scare is that this is a future Hall of Fame player who could be implicated into something that could keep him out of the Hall of Fame. And that's a big knock on baseball and just the reach of baseball. Think about where they're playing right now.
Yep.
In Korea. I mean, this is in large part due to the way the Dodgers have constructed their roster with more of an international group of players that have that sort of reach. They wouldn't be there otherwise.
I mean, he's one of the great talents we've ever seen. Like
ever.
And,
since the game was invented.
Yeah. And so to have this.
How much y'all think that they're paying the interpreter to never talk?
I don't know, man.
Regardless of what the truth is, if he's covering up, if it's a scandal, if it's not a scandal, if he stole it. What? I mean, put it to you like this. Doesn't
Dodgers
he go?
scored 2 runs.
Yeah, they did. God. The Padres did.
Yeah, Padres.
The Padres. Hey, listen,
Padres.
So if for a theft as large as this, that's a federal offense.
Yeah.
He's doing some serious time if this is him. And it's him acting alone on doing this.
It should be noted, this is all connected to a bigger investigation that involves Yasiel Puig, former Dodger, former Major League Baseball player. So it's not like it's just, it's a bunch of degenerate gamblers and one player happens to be caught up in this. It's like, no, there's another baseball player involved too. Like there's.
Like this is who they were placing their bets with.
I just want, while this is going on, how does Major League Baseball handle this? Because they've got to do some digging and do their research. Like, can you just send Ohtani out there with all of this happening?
Yes,
and
you
just
have
say,
to.
All right.
Yes, you have to. I mean, the NFL would put him on the exempt list.
Yeah,
that's what they did in the NFL when stuff like this was going on.
And if you're going to be as grandstandy as Major League Baseball is, to where you come out after the fact when you know guys were on the gas, and then say, oh, you condemn them and say they're never allowed in our Hall of Fame. They're never.
But yet you let him play all them
games.
Oh,
of course. Like, hey, just look the other way, guys. Like you doctored baseballs and home run derby so they would fly farther. You wanted the ratings up, so you let guys do whatever they could do, and then after the fact you go, oh, we had no knowledge of anything like that. And then you tell, as Brady pointed out, Pete Rose can't get into the Hall of Fame. The guy's having
carrying the game.
He's having to sling autographs at the Forum shops at Caesar's Palace in Vegas to try and make a living. And then you want to condemn him for you can't take that approach and then just say, well, we're going to wait until the investigation's over, but keep on playing. It's like that part. I don't know how they go through this and try and sell this to everybody as, hey, don't worry about it. We'll get this figured out in due time. But while we're at it, let our best player and most popular player in the entire sport go ahead and keep playing games.
His whole career.
And the interpreter.
So what do you really think then, Jonas? Because you keep leading to thinking that maybe it could be something else.
Because I don't want to sit here and claim that. Look, if he's
no one's claiming that, but I think if we're listing off the possibilities. Right. You can, this would be the perfect guy who would be the fall guy for this scenario.
Yes. I think that they sent him out to talk, and when he talked, people said, so what you're saying is that, if this is being honest, that Shohei Ohtani wired money to a known bookie to cover gambling debts.
Right.
Well, yeah.
It's 9-2 right now.
That's a problem.
Well, I bet Jesus in trouble, dog.
Speaking. No,
he's gonna win.
What do you mean?
It's
he
took the Padres.
Oh, okay.
That's why it was minus 130, 150.
He took +2, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Minus 2.5.
Minus 2.
Minus 2. Right.
Now the Pods are up 7.
They're up. Yeah, they're up 7.
I got you.
So the Dodgers got some work to do. I've never been a bigger Dodgers fan this moment right now.
I mean, where is Ohtani? Is he? They got a slot machine in the dugout or something? I just want to make sure he's paying attention to the game. But it is. I mean, if you were Major League Baseball, would you put him on an exempt list and suspend him, or would you just say you just let him keep playing?
Let it go until it plays out. Let the law. We're not the law.
All right.
That's out of our jurisdiction. That's out of our jurisdiction.
Well.
Once we know more,
oh man!
Once there's more that's there, then you make a decision, but not until then.
By the way, the Major League Baseball is going to Vegas soon, so this is everything's fine. We're all good here.